Today on Aqua Kids,
Come join Aqua Kid Andrew as he travels the lower Chesapeake Bay with the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. See how understanding the size and dynamics of the species population is key to its effective management and protection.
Aqua Kids, doing what we have to do. Saving our earth, land, air, and sea. All we gotta do is keep it green and blue. For me and you. Aqua Kids.
This is Aqua Kids, and I'm Hannah Jones. Did you know that it's important to survey juvenile fish in order to monitor the abundance in fish population?
really? So monitoring fish is extremely important?
Very important. Did you also know that oxygen is just as important to fish as it is to humans?
Underwater?
Underwater. So I think we're going to give Andrew a special Aqua Kids assignment to find out more about these topics.
All right, Andrew, well, it's time for your big adventure.
All right, I'm ready.
Have fun.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Hey, guys, we're here at the boat basin at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. Here's Mr. Troy. Can you tell us a little bit about what we'll be doing today?
Sure, we're going to go trawling for baby fishes, and we'll measure water quality, and what we do is count the number of baby fishes and the different species that we have in the bay, and we use those to help manage fisheries. So if you're ready, we should probably get going.
Let's do it. So why is this trawl survey so important?
It provides managers with a tool to look at how healthy the fish stocks are going to be in the future. We have surveys and catch landings and things we can look at of how many fish are out there now that we harvest, but we don't have an idea of what's coming up in the future. So that's what this survey provides, that information. What'll be here in a few years? Are we in trouble or the fisheries look okay? That's kind of what.
And how are the numbers looking right now with your program?
Depends on the different species. Like striped bass is really healthy. It's record numbers in recent years. Other fishes like some of the eel, American eel, and American shad, blueback herring, alewife, those species aren't doing so well. So it depends on the species whether it's doing well or not.
What are some of the reasons why some of these species aren't doing so well?
Oh, there's a lot of different reasons. Development, land. I mean, since the settlers first landed in Jamestown in 1607, we've been changing the landscape, cutting trees down, building up seawalls and that sort of thing. And that's just changed the whole watershed, and that's affected the Chesapeake Bay. Used to be lots and lots of oysters in the bay. It's a completely different system now. There's a lot more nutrients available, so there's a lot more plankton, and it's a lot more turbid. You can't see the bottom. You used to be able to see the bottom here. You can't see it now. So it's a lot of habitat changes. Then there's just fishing pressure, whether it's recreational or commercial. We're harvesting these species. We rely on them. It's fun. They taste good. So there's some fishing pressure. There's disease. So it's habitat loss, all those sorts of things.
You said that we're going to be measuring the water quality. Why is that?
We'll look at the water temperature in the surface, the salinity, and dissolved oxygen is a really critical one. In Chesapeake Bay, in the York River during summertime, during the tidal cycles, during neap tide, we'll get hypoxia or low dissolved oxygen, and that affects the fish can't live there because there's no oxygen in the water. They have to uptake. So we measure that to compare that with what we catch to establish where those hypoxic zones are, and so that tells us some information whether we should see fish there or not.
Why might that hypoxia occur?
Phytoplankton blooms, too many nutrients in the water, and the plants that grow in the water make oxygen during the daytime, but at night they also respire, they use oxygen, and they die and settle and decay, and that sucks the oxygen out of the water.
Stay with us, and when we return, we'll find out what they caught.
Now it's time for Aqua Quiz with your host, Drew Cruz.
I'm your host, Drew Cruz, and now it's time to test your knowledge with Aqua Quiz. Monitoring fish populations is an important exercise in keeping a sustainable ecosystem. Understanding the size and changes to a population is key to the effective management and protection of a species. Which of the following are considered effective ways to monitor fish populations? Is it A, seining, B, tagging, C, trawling, or D, none of the above? We'll have the answer after the break. Can I have a BLT on white? Oh, sorry, we're back with the answer to today's Aqua Quiz. Which is the most effective way to monitor fish populations? The answer is A, B, and C. Though there are different schools of thought on the accuracy of these methods, seining, tagging, and trolling are the three methods currently being used by scientists to monitor fish populations. Make a fish face and say what? Make a fish face? Wait. I'll see you next week with another Aqua Kids. I cannot believe that you want...
Welcome back to Aqua Kids. We're back. Let's find out how Andrew's doing on his big adventure.
So I'm here with Emily, who is part of the trawl survey. So Emily, how'd you get involved?
Well, when I first came to VIMS, I was actually a graduate student. I came here to do my master's degree, and the longer I spent here, the more I saw what VIMS was doing, and there's a lot of good work going on here, and I just decided that I wanted to get involved.
So how important is this survey?
It's actually very important. The trawl survey has a long history. They've been doing this for many, many years before I ever came around. And they've been keeping an eye on the populations of the fishes throughout the rivers in the bay, and it's very good to monitor these populations and just see how they change over time.
So now what are we doing?
So now we're bringing the net on board. So just you have a hydraulic winch, just pulling it up, and then once it's up and the doors are in that block there, we'll grab the legs of the trawl net, which is the lines going through, we call it legs, and then we'll start pulling the net on board and shaking the fish down in the bottom of the net. And then that that tag line we put on the back of the net, we'll untie that and we'll dump the catch into this tote. Okay. And then we'll lift that up on the table and then we'll sort through it. All right. And we'll sort the fish by species, and then I'll take them over to the table over there and I'll measure each individual fish. And some of them we may keep for Ben's projects, for Ben's work. Others we'll just throw them overboard and let them go. So now we'll sort them into the different species. So we have Atlantic croaker, we have spot, there's blue crabs, we have male blue crabs and female blue crabs. This is a female blue crab, but it's a juvenile, so it sort of has a triangular shaped apron. Okay. That's an adult female, the apron, so you can see the difference between the crabs. That's a spot. This is a hog choker.
Hog choker? What is that?
This is a hog choker. It's one of the more abundant species in Chesapeake Bay. And this is a female. You can see it's in reproductive states. You can see the ovary through the skin. You can see these are gravid too. And this is the part of the estuary where they spawn. So they're down here to spawn, lay eggs.
That's great. So the hog choker looks like a flounder. Is it all part of the same family?
No, it's in a different family. It's in the sole family, S-O-L-E. These are juvenile weak fish or gray trout.
Now they're a game species, right? They're good to eat?
That's right. Yep, they'll get a lot bigger. Here's your flounder. This is a juvenile summer flounder. It's a little baby flounder.
So summer flounder, face left, winter flounder, face right?
Correct. That's right. This is a silver perch. It's in the drum family, related to spot and to croaker and to weak fish. They're all in the same family.
Are they coming in here to spawn as well, or are these just the juveniles?
This is probably getting to be an adult. And they spawn in the estuary too, yes.
So what are we doing now?
I'm getting ready to measure some fish. I'm going to move over to our measuring station, and then I'll measure these fish.
So this is a fancy looking board here. What are you doing right now?
We have an electronic measuring board, so it'll send the measurements and the species and the station that we called them. I put it all in this, and then I can measure each fish, and it'll record it digitally. But I have to calibrate the board first.
So you're telling me that this measuring board brings all this information back to the computer?
That's right. It'll save it in the measuring board, and then I'll download it onto a computer, and we'll have all the fish that we caught already electronic, and we can start working with those information right away. These are all too small, Ben.
All right. So are these the croakers now?
That's right. These are Atlantic croaker, and we take a total length, so the long to the tip of the point of the tail, and this has a little magnet affixed to the base of it, and it's offset. So when I touch it to the board, in the center line here, it'll send the signal to the computer and measure. Now it's 211 millimeters, and then I can send the fish overboard, and they can go on their way.
Andrew caught an awful lot of fish, including the hog choker, which does not seem to be too popular. More when we come back. Want to keep up with our adventures? Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Aqua Kids will be right back. Andrew is out on special assignment, and we're going to find out what he learned from the students here at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science.
So Troy, how is this project funded?
It's funded through federal dollars through sports fish restoration. It's money that comes from the sales tax on fishing gear and licensed sales, boat sales and fuel taxes. That sort of money goes into a pot of money that the federal government allocates to various states, and then the states can divvy up that money and decide how they want to spend it. Sometimes they put in boat ramps, sometimes they build fishing piers for community to go fishing from, and other parts go into research and monitoring. So our survey is funded through that money.
And how long has this project been going?
It started in 1955, and it just sampled in the York River here. It fixed sites, so the same location year after year, month after month, but it has changed over time. And right now we've sampled the York, James, Rappahannock, and then the Virginia portion of Chesapeake Bay. So we expanded the area that's sampled, and then how the stations are determined has also changed through time. So what we have here are two different fish in the drum family. They look very similar, but the top one here is a star drum, and then this is the weak fish we saw at the last station. But you can tell the difference by the mouth shape. This one, the weak fish, is a little more upturned kind of look to it when it closes. And then the star drum, it's less so. And then the tail shape is a little bit different.
Are they pretty rare in this part of the water?
We don't see them. They're certainly not as common as weak fish.
So what do we have here? It looks like we have a nice sized flounder. Right?
Yeah. So this is a summer flounder. So we saw the juvenile before. This is an adult summer flounder. So that's what people are trying to catch, hook and line.
Yep. So these flounder, what do they eat?
Flounder they eat other fishes. They'll eat shrimp, invertebrates, lots of different things. But they spawn offshore, outside of the bay, and then their babies are hatch, and they have eyes on both sides of the head. And then as they develop, the eyes will migrate to one side of the head, and it'll start trying to figure out where it's going to live. So it'll start swimming down and testing the substrate, and if it likes where it is, then it'll settle out. And then we found from the lower portion of Chesapeake Bay all the way up the York River quite a distance.
When they're on the bottom, do they have the ability to change color a little bit to blend in better with the sediment?
They can a little bit. They'll also just kind of fluff the sediment up over top of them to camouflage to where they are. Yep. And they're ambush predators.
Ambush predator? What's that?
That's an animal that sort of hides and waits for the food to kind of wander by, and then it'll attack it. As opposed to something that swims around constantly searching for food, like a croaker will swim around and search the bottom, and with the sensory, it can smell sort of the animals, and it'll dig them up out of the sediment, but it's constantly swimming around looking for food, whereas those will just lay in wait and wait for the food to come by and then surprise them.
So Ben, how did you get involved with this project?
So I'm a PhD student working at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. My advisor is the head scientist for the survey, and I'm working with spot and Atlantic croaker to see how hypoxia affects their distribution, abundance, and reproduction.
Hypoxia? What's that?
So hypoxia is where the dissolved oxygen in the water decreases beyond a set point. And obviously if the oxygen in the water becomes very low, then the fish in that area will try to avoid it. So they want the oxygen to be high, same as you do in the air. So they're going to move away from that area, but it can also have other effects if they're subjected to those conditions for a long period of time, such as decreased reproduction and decreased abundance. So it can actually cause mortality in these fishes, especially in juveniles.
So what causes the hypoxia?
Hypoxia is typically caused by an excess of nutrients in the water. And what happens when there's a lot of nutrients in the water is you get a lot of plankton. And as these plankton reproduce and then they die, the bacteria that break down the plankton will actually suck up all the oxygen in the water, and so that causes the dissolved oxygen to decrease.
When you say nutrients, what do you mean? What does that include?
So typically when we're talking about nutrients, we're talking about nitrogen and phosphorus. And these often are included in runoff, especially from urban areas. You can get very high loads of nitrogen and phosphorus in the water, which again can lead to increases in the plankton and then can decrease the oxygen in the water.
So how can folks at home help decrease the nutrients?
Well, there's a couple different ways. A lot of like composting and those sorts of things can help if you're not using just your sink garbage disposal, flush everything down the drain. Decreasing fertilization in your lawns, those sorts of things will help decrease that runoff into the bay and can help the hypoxic conditions.
Oh, hi. I'm so glad you're here. You know, it always excites me to meet young people who love to protect the earth as much as I do. young people who are pioneering powerful ways to conserve and protect our planet for all of us. I call them eco-defenders. Let's find out what they're up to.
We can all make a difference and we can all have a voice if we know what we're fighting for. A lot of people want to be green but don't know how. Here in Nevada, we've been in a drought for 4 years, and a lot of people aren't very mindful of that, but I don't think that they are aware of why they should be. We have our Truckee River, it's downtown, it goes kind of through all of Reno. This is the lowest I've ever seen it. Where I'm sitting right now would be covered in water. We would be hitting our knees on it when we were swimming. And the river is our drinking water. That now has been very shocking to a lot of people to actually visually see that we don't have our river, and we need to do everything that we can to fix the drought right now and to help conserve our water here. We learned that our school hadn't been updated since it was built in 1974, so all of the technology was really old, was so wasteful. So we applied for a grant, and we won $12,000 first place to renovate those bathrooms and get updated technology. We changed the toilets to low flush toilets. We removed the paper towels and installed hand dryers. We also removed the lights to be auto-censored lights, and the faucets are now auto-censored faucets as well. The second part of our project was trying to reduce the waste of our students' consumption of plastic water bottles. So what we did was we applied for another grant with the same organization, and we won $3,500 second place that year to install a hydration station that the students can refill their reusable water bottles with. These have saved over 37,000 plastic water bottles a year for Reed High School. We saved our school a lot of money, a lot of water. The most important part is that there were a lot of kids who were like, this is awesome, I didn't even know that, and I'm really excited to learn about it, or how can I join the Eco Warriors? Now I'm teaching other kids to do that, and I hope that it grows the same way it did with me. And so I always make sure to express that and really emphasize that when I go into classrooms, because I know these kids are going to tell their parents what they're talking about at school. I always tell them that they're going to be the next ones to make decisions for this generation. They're going to grow up to be the leaders, and I want them to know that they can do whatever they can to be that person to make a difference. I want them to know and be on the side of environmentalism and know that we need to take care of this starting now and until they grow old. So I hope that I really reach that and get that through to the kids.
Wasn't that amazing? Okay, now it's your turn. If you or someone you know is doing something remarkable to help our planet, let us know about it, and you could be our next eco-defender. I gotta go. Hi, Hannah here. For more information on today's show, go to aquakids.tv. Aqua Kids will be right back.
Hey, it's Drew. Join the Aqua Kids next week to see the science behind measuring water quality. Who knows? Maybe they use robots.
I'm Jalen, and this is Earth Edition. There's an important question that is being asked all over the world. How big are the fish and how many are there? The reason this is so important is because fish are a critical link in the food chain of other plants and animals, including us. Billions of people around the globe depend on fish as a part of their diet. And fishing supports the local economy with jobs for commercial and recreational fishermen. So it's alarming when we see a decline in the number of fish. When we take too many fish out of the water and leave too few behind to reproduce, it's called overfishing. But there's hope because of laws and practices put in place to protect fish. Sustainably caught seafood supports good fishing practices that protect ecosystems. There's fishing gear that helps reduce the number of endangered species caught and killed incidentally. Cleaner and more fuel-efficient carbon emissions help restore and preserve healthy habitat for fish. It's up to each one of us to help protect the aquatic bounty for those whose jobs depend on it, and for the animals and humans who consume it. I'm Jalen, and this has been Earth Edition.
Welcome back to Aqua Kids.
All right, let's see how we did today. So Troy, what have we found?
This is pretty much what we would have expected for July in this part of the river. But you can see the croaker coming in, you see the blue crabs, some are floundering here, the hog chokers spawning. So it's nothing unexpected, but the value of a long-term survey isn't what you see on any particular day, but it's how that changes over time. That's really where this data is important. So we'll supply these numbers to the management agencies, the people that make regulations on fish you can keep, and then depending on how landings, what people have caught and harvested, they'll kind of make decisions of what they need to do for rules, whether they can relax it and people can keep more fish, or they'll be more restrictive and say you can't have as many, there aren't enough out there. So it takes more than just one day to figure all that out, but it's a start, right?
Yeah, this work is definitely important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder how Andrew's big adventure went.
Me too.
Hey guys.
Hey, Andrew. Okay, so now that you're back from your big adventure, can you tell Selena and Drew a couple of quick facts?
Yeah, well, I learned all about hypoxia and how important it is to have oxygen in the water for the fish to live. And I also learned how important it is to survey our local fish populations so we can better manage our diverse local species.
Great job, Andrew. Remember, it's up to you to keep it green and blue. Help protect our planet, and we'll see you next time on Aqua Kids. Bye!
Aqua Kids, Aqua Kids, doing what we have to do. Saving our earth, land, air, and sea. All we gotta do is keep it green and